what you can be, forget fame and power. Now, so many of us in this age, people of this world, seek after fame, after power, after wealth, after all kinds of things that make us feel more important. But I kind of liked that idea in the fortune cookie. Be what you can be. And I think that's what Jesus is talking about in the lessons that we have today. He's making a contrast between what the people are like when they focus on this world only, with all the problems and the conflicts and the temptations and the trials and the hurts and the things that go wrong here. And he's making a contrast to the children of light, those who live by the principles of the promises of God, who look forward to an eternal home with God, who live according to a coming expectation of a brand new future. So let's look at what was going on today in some of those lessons. Amos paints a terrible picture of the children of this age. He's a prophet of the Old Testament, and he says, look at those people who are greedy, who kept trying to amass their own wealth for their own gain. They couldn't wait until the Sabbath was over. They were counting the hours, or I guess you figure out a different device to tell time these days. They couldn't wait, because on the Sabbath you couldn't sell anything, you couldn't work, you couldn't even cook food. And when the Sabbath was over, they said, great, now we can get back to our usual business practices of putting the thumb on the scale, so when you were weighing things, it weighed in heavier, and the poor had to pay even more than what it was worth. They couldn't wait until they could get back to their practices of cheating others to get gain for themselves. And Amos says God notices things like that, things of that type God remembers. Now there is another place in our lessons today that talks about God wanting everyone to be saved, coming out of these problems of the children of this age. He wants everyone to have that opportunity, and he's given Jesus Christ, the one mediator, to pay the price of sin and to bring us into a new vision and a new idea. So when we get to Jesus talking to the Pharisees, the disciples, and the crowds, he's talking about children this age and children of light. And as Jesus sometimes does, he uses scoundrels and cheats and all kinds of interesting characters as the sources in his parables. What is he doing? He is saying a story about a man who has figured out how to be what he can be. Now think a little bit yourselves. What happens when you get into tough situations? How do you handle it? What do you do? What beliefs help you get beyond? This manager, who was in charge of the rich man's wealth while the rich man was away, this was common in Jesus' day. There were absentee landlords who held enormous estates, and the manager would see to the renters on the fields and make sure that the rich man was paid for their use of the land. And when the accounting came, and the rich man was told that his manager was a scoundrel and a cheat, and was not doing the things according to the ways that would help the rich man, he said that the manager was going to lose his position. Now this manager is a child of this age. He apparently has not been honest in the ways he's been dealing with the renters. And now he thinks, I can't dig and work in the fields That's too hard. I'm going to be ashamed to beg. I won't have a job. Nobody will like me. I won't have a place to go. What am I going to do? So the scoundrel, the child of this age, says, I've got an idea. And so he takes the promissory notes that are written by the renters, and one after one he goes to those renters and says, how much do you owe the master? 100 jugs of oil. Here, this promissory note's in your handwriting. Just make a few changes here. Instead of 100, let's say you owe 50 instead. So how does that renter feel? Whoa, half the debt's paid off. That's wonderful. That's great news. And he goes to another one. How much wheat do you owe? He reduces that one as well. And we're talking enormous sums here. The amount of wheat is probably the produce of about 100 acres. This is no small change. And little by little, he reduces the debt. The renters are ecstatic. They say, this guy, I can work with him. And when he's all done, he has friends. He will be able to go to any of them. They will be indebted to him, and he will have a clean sale. Now, here's the twist in the story. The rich man says, that scoundrel was thrifty and shrewd in his practices. He was more shrewd than anyone else I've ever seen. Not that he was condemned for doing something dishonest. He was praised for being shrewd. He was all he could do with dishonest means, and that was what he could do. Now Jesus goes on to say, if the children of this age can do such amazing things to get themselves out of trouble with dishonest wealth, with the use of the resources in improper ways, how much more could the children of light do with the resources that are given to them if they follow God's principles and look for the age to come? So we think now, as children of light, and as we follow God's principles and rejoicing that Jesus has come into our world, we find a different way of thinking. Instead of being just all we can be with what we got, we start to think and praise God for the abundance of resources. And we need to trust God for what we will be, because God will make us into something even bigger than we can imagine, even more blessed than we can imagine. Over the last several weeks, we've been talking about disciples not taking things with reciprocity. That means when you go to have a banquet, invite people that are poor, invite people that don't have the resources that you have, so they can't invite you back and trade banquet for banquet. We often do that. When you go to a banquet, don't take the place of honor, sit at the lowest place. Take a place of humility. Jesus is saying what our resources and our things that are given to us need to do is to make everybody equal in God's eyes. And we are to help people who cannot help us back. We are not to expect a return for ourselves, as that manager did. The shrewd manager did everything so that he could get something. The children of the light trust God to be what they will be in God's eyes and in God's making. And we use the wealth to help others. I'd like to tell you a couple stories. One is about a woman that's right here in Spring Valley. Most of you know Ruth Lemke. And a few months ago I talked to you about a friend of hers. They gave her some patterns and some fabrics, and they decided that they were going to make dresses for children in Africa. Now the source that the friend had didn't work. So now they had these dresses. They were beautiful. And we made the connection with our own Southeast Minnesota Synod. We have a mission director. We have a companion relationship with South Sudan, with Colombia, and with Tanzania. And Walreed, who is a pastor from South Sudan, came to this Southeast Minnesota Synod and got his training here, worked with our own Bishop Delzer, and finally went back to South Sudan and is now working with new churches in the new center that is being built, the new Lutheran Center being built in Jubal. So when Walreed was here this summer, the dresses that Ruth made were given to Wal. Wal put them in his suitcase and took them back to South Sudan. And the girls that you see in this picture were wearing t-shirts and nothing much else. And now they are wearing Ruth's dresses. And things are changing. And things are going a different way. All because one person used some of her quilting stash and a vision for what could yet be to help someone far away. Now that's just one person. But I'd also like to tell you what you are doing, and you might not even know it. Our own ELCA, our mission dollars go from this congregation not only to help things here in Spring Valley, but also to help things in our own Synod and beyond to the national church and beyond internationally. We are some of the best in the world at the longevity of working with disaster victims. We help with world hunger all over the world. And I found this story just this week about what world hunger is doing in Central Africa. Your dollars, your offerings, go to help people with stories like this. This is a story from a woman by the name of Puget. My husband and I are married in this village. We have 4 children. Before world hunger, we drank water from the river, and all our fortunes were spent in the hospital because every week one of our children would fall sick. I would sometimes go down to the valley after dark to fetch water from the river, and we suffered a lot from this situation. We wanted to build a solid tin roof house for our family and have a better life. But the medical expenses ruined our plans. Also, we wanted our children to be literate because my husband and I never went to school. When the people from World Hunger arrived, they told us about the construction of latrines. We did not want that. We wanted a project that could give us agricultural seeds and build a health post in the village. After resisting, they finally convinced us to build latrines. And after a majority of us had built latrines, they harnessed a spring for our village. During the work of developing the spring, all the men of the village participated free of charge for the workforce, and we women transported sand on our heads for the project site. My husband is part of the Water Management Committee. We have given a house to the World Hunger Agent to live with us here in the village because we want him to be close to us while we wait for him to build his own house. Our family has experienced great change, including we no longer have high medical expenses. We now have a tin-roofed house built with our own income. I bought a living room set of upholstered chairs. My husband has a motorcycle for our mobility. And today, thanks to the water fountain built by World Hunger, all the trucks and travelers traveling to and from Malawi stop to get water, and we take the opportunity to sell our farm produce on the spot. You're doing this, my friends. With every gift that we give in the name of God, it goes out to help someone else. We are children of light We are God's saved people, and we don't live in this age. We are of this world, but we are not of this world, we live in it. That's why Jesus says it. And we look forward to what God is doing among us. So be what you can be. Trust God for what you can be. Because the measure of our faithfulness isn't what we can hold on to about what we used to be. It's what we can let go and use the resources where God is leading us. In Jesus' name. Amen. Let us pray. Almighty God, give us your vision for our life. Keep us always rejoicing in your goodness and in your protection. In Jesus' name. Amen. And now we are going to pass out the rhythm instruments. I'm going to ask some of the ushers to come forward, and I'm going to ask the acolytes to help us out too. There's a shopping cart right up front here. So would you take that and go up and